Stephanie White, still a little bit emotional, which we'll get to in a second, but that is Sophie Cunningham, obviously behind her. Doesn't really mean anything except for Sophie was celebrating the win.
Is she really crying after a comeback against the worst team in the league?
Fever were down 21 points. They had just lost Sophie Cunningham to an injury, and she's going to get an MRI today, but she went down with a knee injury in the second quarter.
We are here to listen to Stephanie White. I got to hear what this woman is going to say about yesterday.
I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you.
Things just got messy in Indiana.
Stephanie White actually getting a bit overjoyed here and just expressing her feelings about the resiliency of her team, her coaching staff, just everybody working together to actually keep making a push for this playoffs.
Stephanie White's so-called emotional tears after the Fever's narrow win are being called fake by fans, especially after Sophie Cunningham's scary injury shook the team. But let's be real, this game wasn't saved by White's coaching. It was saved by Kelsey Mitchell's monster performance. And the biggest question remains, what happens when Caitlin Clark returns?
Is this woman literally crying after a comeback against the worst team in the league?
When the final buzzer sounded, the Fever had somehow escaped with a 99-93 overtime win. But instead of celebrating the players who actually made it happen, all eyes turned to the post-game locker room, where Stephanie White broke down in tears.
I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. You never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes.
Her speech was full of words like resilience, connectedness, and never giving up. But fans weren't buying it. Why? Because those tears came after barely surviving against the worst team in the league.
And it took an absolute meltdown by Connecticut and Kelsey Mitchell going scorched earth to get it done.
The Connecticut Sun had the Fever down by as many as 21 points, and it took a total collapse from Connecticut, plus Kelsey Mitchell going absolutely nuclear to flip the game. Critics were quick to call it out. They said White wasn't crying out of pride. She was crying out of relief. Relief that Kelsey Mitchell saved her job for another week.
This was a 3-game stretch in which this team was supposed to win all 3 games. And it took a miracle to avoid losing all 3 games. Do not tell me that Stephanie White is a great coach. Do not tell me that she is a good coach. She's not even a serviceable coach. She has no idea what to do, when to do it, how to do it. If it wasn't for Kelsey Mitchell going flat out scorched earth in the second half, they don't win this game. If it wasn't for Connecticut completely melting down, they don't win this game.
Because let's be honest, if Indiana had lost that game, the pressure on White to be fired would have exploded. This wasn't a masterclass in coaching. This was a desperate team being bailed out by one superstar.
You are the consummate professional. We love you. We appreciate you. You were huge. AB point forward. And like, look, you can't underestimate what it means to have somebody like her who just does whatever we ask, right?
Even more embarrassing, White singled out players like Brianna Turner for being the consummate professional, despite her putting up 0 points and 1 rebound in 14 minutes.
Don't sit here with the crocodile tears. I'm so proud of you guys. Our connectiveness, the connectiveness. Where was the connectiveness against Dallas? Where was the connectiveness against Washington? Where was the connectiveness for 2.5 quarters in a game against a team that you should have beat by 30?
Fans saw straight through it. These weren't genuine tears of pride. They were crocodile tears, staged to spin the narrative and distract from 3 quarters of terrible basketball.
She is in there crying like that because Kelsey Mitchell had a game like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? She ain't never did that for Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? Ever. Every time they ask her about Caitlin Clark, she always throws some shade. They ask her about Caitlin Clark in the ESPYs award or something like that. She go to talking about Angel Reese and Asia Wilson and everybody else. Flat out, bro. Caitlin Clark go out here and shoot some jumpers, bro. She pull her out the game. They trying to govern her. Oh, don't do that. Don't do this. But Kelsey Mitchell, oh, we want her to keep shooting. We want her to keep shooting.
And the truth is, if Caitlin Clark had been on the court, there wouldn't have been any need for theatrics. With Clark's leadership and firepower, Indiana would have walked all over Connecticut. Instead, White put on an emotional performance that felt more like acting than coaching.
Win against 6-27 team. I get it, the team is just abysmal, right? But when they're performing at a high level that day, that record does not matter, I'm telling you. Top-tier teams lose to low-tier teams throughout the season. It just happens. Sometimes your team just doesn't show up to win.
When the Fever looked dead in the water, it wasn't Stephanie White's game plan that brought them back. It wasn't some magical halftime adjustment. It was one player, Kelsey Mitchell.
Congrats to her. Love what she did. Dropped the 38 points. Shot 5 of 8 from the 3. Came in major. Came in absolutely major.
Mitchell absolutely torched the Sun, dropping 38 points and going 5 for 8 from deep. Every time Indiana needed a bucket, she delivered. Pull-ups, step backs, clutch threes, driving layups.
Look, if they can't figure out how to make threes, they are going to lose this game. They have to figure out how to make some threes. They were shooting like 7% at the half, and then they ended up turning it up to get to 31%.
She turned the game into her personal showcase, dragging the Fever to overtime and then finishing the job. Without her, this is an ugly double-digit loss. Period.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be fucking kidding me. You're crying after your team was down 21 to the worst team in the league, and you made a comeback to the worst team in the league. You're crying over that. You're so emotional over that.
Even more telling, Mitchell wasn't just scoring, she was carrying the emotional weight of the team. While Stephanie White was in the locker room crying, Mitchell was the one on the court demanding the ball, setting the tone, and keeping Indiana alive.
Put her on her back and she hit big shot after big. When Clark was hitting them shots, you called the hero ball. You didn't like it. This is why I can't stand her. This is why I can't stand her.
Fans know the truth. This win belongs to Kelsey Mitchell, not Stephanie White. But here's the double standard that exposes the deeper issue. When Caitlin Clark puts the Fever on her back, the coaching staff calls it hero ball. They restrict her, pull her out of games when she heats up, or design sets that push her to the corner.
You're basically thanking everybody in the locker room. Kelsey Mitchell carried them. Okay, Brianna Turner, you're the consummate professional. Really? The consummate professional. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God.
Yet when Mitchell does the exact same thing, and thank goodness she did, White showers her with praise. Where's that same energy for Clark? Why is one star given the freedom to save the team, while the other is forced to play inside a box?
Never, never, never has the lack of Caitlin Clark been so abundantly apparent in your face as it was on Sunday. They would have dog-walked Connecticut with Caitlin Clark on the floor. Dog-walked.
And this is the biggest point. With Caitlin Clark on the floor, this comeback never even happens because the Fever don't fall behind by 21 in the first place.
Let that have been Minnesota, then we could have a conversation. Down 21, down 15 in the fourth. By all means, Connecticut, chop, please.
Clark's shooting stretches defenses, her passing opens the floor, and her leadership stops the panic that was all over Indiana in the first half. Fans said it best. With Clark healthy, Connecticut gets dog-walked. No overtime, no miracle comeback, no need for crocodile tears in the locker room.
That woman has made, that have been repeated by members of the media. They've been better with Caitlin Clark. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't want to hear it.
Kelsey Mitchell deserves all the flowers for saving the season. But Caitlin Clark is still the engine that can turn the Fever from miracle chasers into real contenders. Without her, this team looks lost until somebody goes off for 30 plus. With her, they control games instead of scrambling for survival.
She is crying. You want to know why she's crying? Because Kelsey Mitchell saved her job. Because if they had lost this game, the fire that would come after Stephanie White from everybody would have been so loud, it would be impossible to ignore.
So while White's tears might have gone viral, they can't erase what everyone just saw. The Fever are running on borrowed time without Clark. And the only reason White still has a job today is because Kelsey Mitchell put the team and the season on her back.
Sophie Cunningham went down with an injury.
Now when she dives, when she sees Sophie leg extending and she dives down, that's an unnatural movement.
And Bria Hartley just kind of plows through her leg by the looks of things. She kind of plows through the knee and Sophie's holding like her patella.
The turning point in this game wasn't just the scoreboard. It came when Sophie Cunningham went down hard, clutching herself in visible pain.
Are the Indiana Fever a better defensive team than they were last year? Yes, I believe that she has helped this team become better defensively. I think that she's put more of an emphasis on people keeping the ball in front of them, guarding their man, helping your teammates out.
The energy inside the arena shifted instantly. Players rushed over, fans went quiet, and for a moment, the Fever weren't just battling Connecticut. They were battling concern for one of their emotional leaders.
She came off the bench for most of the season. She's been starting recently with Caitlin Clark out of the lineup. She's a glue guy. She's a glue gal, I guess is what we would call it in the WNBA. And her presence, if she's out of the lineup, is definitely going to affect this Indiana Fever team. There's no doubt about it.
This should have been a gut check moment, and it was, but not in the way Stephanie White wanted people to believe. After the game, White painted Sophie's injury as another obstacle her team bravely overcame. She spoke about resilience, toughness, and connectedness, using Sophie's fall as fuel for her teary locker room speech.
Before Kelsey Mitchell was mentioned for scoring 38 points in the game, including 34 after halftime, to lead the Indiana Fever's furious comeback from 21 points down. And I got to thinking about how this Indiana Fever season has been framed.
To some fans, it looked less like genuine leadership and more like spin. Because here's the reality. Indiana didn't start struggling after Sophie went down. They were already in trouble. Turnovers piled up early, their offense stalled, and Connecticut built a massive 21-point lead. Sophie's injury wasn't the cause of the Fever's chaos.
Now they just lost Sophie. If you watch the game, Sophie had a knee injury, so it says Bria Hartley always at the scene of the crime, extending her fall right into Sophie Cunningham's leg. The Suns team's out of control. It was going to the basket. She used her momentum, bumped into Kelsey, and it ran right into Sophie Cunningham's leg right there.
It only exposed how fragile the team was without Caitlin Clark's steadying presence. And instead of answering the hard questions, like why her team was flat, why they lacked urgency, why they needed a miracle to beat the league's bottom feeder, White leaned into the emotion of Sophie's injury.
Players getting hurt, players getting chucked from games, players getting into scraps is basically, it all stems from the referees being bad at their jobs. The referees not being able to control the game.
It became part of the narrative, a way to reframe an ugly performance as a story of heart and togetherness. But fans weren't buying it. They saw the cracks, poor preparation, bad rotations, and a coach leaning on tears instead of solutions.
I will agree with plays completely out of control, and I think Bria Hartley's the dirtiest. She's reckless. Bria Hartley, I don't know. She might just be completely out of control, so that's something completely reckless is fine.
The truth is, the players saved themselves. They regrouped, leaned on Kelsey Mitchell's firepower, and found a way to win. That had nothing to do with White's halftime words, and that's exactly where Caitlin Clark's absence screams the loudest.
Her sister, Lindsay Cunningham, says at WNBA, maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie.
With Clark on the floor, the Fever don't panic when adversity hits. She organizes the offense, calms the team down, and provides a scoring punch to keep games from spiraling out of control.
Bria Hartley might be taking the trophy home for MVP, most dirty player in the league.
They call the fans racist, but the players are showing pure hatred and racism on the court, attacking players.
Prayers up for Sophie Cunningham. One half of the Blonde Bombers. Sophie, the trophy, is done for the season.
Her sister, Lindsay Cunningham, says at WNBA, maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating, more about hiring officials.
In the WNBA, you must protect yourself at all times in the WNBA.
Sophie's injury was heartbreaking, but the way it was used in the postgame was telling. Instead of confronting why Indiana needed overtime against a 6-win team, Stephanie White turned it into another emotional storyline. And for many, that was just another example of how disconnected she really is from the root of the Fever's problems.
I'm proud of you too. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. Your never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And
At the end of the day, Stephanie White's tears won't fool anybody. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't strategy. It was Kelsey Mitchell saving the Fever. Plain and simple. But everyone knows the real difference. Maker is still Caitlin Clark. Without her, Indiana looks shaky. With her, they're dangerous. Now it's simple. Will the Fever stop wasting time on emotional speeches and finally unleash the full power of Caitlin Clark when she's back?